Okay, to continue, I'm going to invite Ms. Carmita Ruiz to introduce our next speaker. So, Ms. Carmita, could you please?
Good evening. Mrs. Carolyn Trench-Sandiford is a leading advocate in media, conferences, and forums for healthy and reformed governance and planning frameworks that are designed to reduce inequities, eliminate economic and social disparity, and to improve the quality of lives. In her work, she partners with vulnerable groupings and populations to bring about safe, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable communities. Professionally, Mrs. Trench-Sandiford has undergraduate and graduate qualifications in the fields of engineering, planning and environmental law. She is the president of the Belize Association of Planners and the Caribbean Planners Association, a vice president of the Commonwealth Association of Planners, a member of Caribbean 2030 Leaders Network, originally Think and Do Tank, with a mandate to improving the Caribbean's socio-political and economic trajectory. Member of the Physical and Environmental Planning Subsector Committee of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency. Member of the Advisory Committees of the Caribbean Network for Urban Land Management and the Urban Planning Program of the University of Technology. She is also recognized as a UN Global Evaluation Expert. We invite Mrs. Sandiford to address the graduating class of 2020.
Good evening, and since I'm in Benque, I think I must say muy buenas tardes. And I want Miss Doris to know that I am as shy as her, and an introvert as well. Mayor Marconis Matos, pleasure to meet you today. Sosa. Pleasure to meet you today. Deacon Carl, I think, was here, and the Chancellor, Father Bull, and the Dean, David Royd. Yes. Good evening, faculty, staff, family, friends, and esteemed graduates, whom I wish to thank for the honor and the prestige of addressing you today on your 2020 graduation ceremony. It's indeed a glorious moment for an accomplishment earned by hard work, discipline, commitment, and as important, one only possible with the grace of God, the support and guidance of your family, and the shared blessings of your friends, your college and your community. I'm certain humbled to be here. More importantly, though, I am so re-energized by being in your presence today and listening to all that you have achieved. As I'm sure your junior secondary school years, you have inspired and guided others. You should share your gifts that the Almighty has bestowed upon you. And given this opportunity, though, I wish to share a few thoughts with you on the milestone moment in your life. when you're making some critical choices for career pathways, as to whether to continue your studies or to stay in Belize or migrate, and I ask that you stay in Belize, or starting a family or seeking a job, and what your role is going to be in service to God and country. As we face the global pandemic that is crippling us, the very fabric of our nation, I, like many other Belizeans, have become concerned about our nation state, of what I see as a trajectory of a Belize on a journey of an open water, moving in all directions at the same time. Oftentimes it seems with no purpose. Today is a day of joy for you, for your family, for your friends, for your college. But in the presence of tears of joy, however, are the tears of our reality of a Belize, of rising and widening poverty and inequality, of greed and corruption, loss in trust and confidence in our systems and institutions, of the blatant disregard for our Constitution, which is our very essence, and who we are and the values for which we stand. And we see many of our leaders today placing self before God and country. I will confess that at times I have found myself disillusioned, cynical, and sometimes losing hope. But when I came here today and I listened to all that you have been doing, and I say to myself, Belize is going to be safe, because the future for us is changing, and it's changing with you. Sometimes we ask ourselves the question, what can we do, or what more can we do? How can we deliver the promise of that peaceful, constructive Belizean revolution, that milestone which was our independence, September 21st, 1981? We were given a constitution, one that affirms that our nation shall be founded upon principles which acknowledge the supremacy of God, faith in human rights, principles of social justice. A constitution that says that as a people, we believe in a democratic society, one where every person shall play a part in this country, one which is based for respect for moral and spiritual values, and upon the rule of law, one that states that our policies should eliminate economic and social disparity among our people. One which said that the vehicle for that constitution was the peaceful, constructive Belizean revolution. It was to bring to all Belizeans a better quality of life and a just share of our national wealth. That was the dream of our forefathers, our foremothers, and the architects of our Constitution. So you, graduates, are now poised to shape the future of the nation state of Belize for your generation and for the next. Your years of learning and equipping yourself with the knowledge and skill set of overcoming obstacles and pressures, whether from your peers, from society, from social media, to be here today is a statement of your strength, of your resilience, and your capacity to take charge of your destiny and that of your country, holding true to your faith in God, and that Belize will be made a great nation. So I will not sugarcoat things today, because COVID-19 has truly changed the landscape in which we exist. It has exposed the blatant, pre-existing economic and social disparity amongst us. When you have a situation where 80,000 of your working population is applying for unemployment benefits, it says to us that the majority of our people are only a paycheck away from being sucked into poverty, which stands at 43% and 14% more vulnerable to becoming poor. That's 54% of our population. That was not what the revolution was about. It has exposed us as a debt-ridden nation, where each of us, every man, woman, and child, owe $10,000 each at the last count. It has shown where one industry, when annihilated, has brought our economy to its knees, and our lifeline to survive are on loans and the benevolence of other countries. It says we are a dependent nation, not an independent nation. That was not what our revolution was about. It has exposed our failure to share the nation wealth with thousands of our people. Because when you note that thousands of Belizeans were prepared to congregate at a time in a state of emergency, just to acquire or the hope of acquiring a piece of land to build their dream home or a farm, it tells you something is wrong when one person or one organization owns hundreds and thousands of acres of land in our country. That was not what our revolution was about. So your deliverance, graduates, and I'm not putting any pressure on you, I want you to know, but your deliverance must be different. This is not the Belize of 1950, when that revolution started. It's not even the Belize of 1981, when we got independence. It's not even the Belize of 2000, when we felt with hope and optimism it was the dawn of a new century. It is 2021. You notice I don't say 2020 because 2020 is gone. We're in 2021. It's a new decade where challenges are multiple, they're more complex, they're wide-ranging, and they're deeper. We are now a multicultural society. There are more people calling themselves Belizeans rather than simply saying I'm a Creole or a Mestiz or I'm a Garifuna, because we've become so mixed up. We are people with shifting values. We may have more Belizeans who are living abroad than actually living in Belize. But we are also at an age of tri-identity. And by that I mean you're a Belizean, but you're a Central American and a Caribbean, but you're also a global citizen. That is what globalization has done. We have issues that are yet unresolved. For example, we still have the Guatemalan claim to our country. We still have that systemic and deeply rooted gender and spatial and representational disparity in our governance system, where our women are still absent from the highest levels of decision-making, where vulnerable groupings of our population are discounted in our development dialogue, where there's a marked difference in the size of populations of our political constituencies. When one constituency has 5 times the number of electors than another constituency, how can that be democracy? When our villages are growing, and many of them are now having populations more than that of towns and cities, but they get no money to do nothing, because that is what our democracy has become. I say to you that there has become also, which I felt is just so terrible, an acceptance of the non-governance approach to democracy, where we seem to have institutionalized corruption and mismanagement of our resources, where we evade the very principles of democracy, transparency, accountability, ethical practices. We make decisions that are more politically driven than in the interest of the common good. That was not what the revolution was about. Have you ever heard any time that anybody has said to you, this is the amount of land we have, this is what we have issued, and this is what we have left? Because nobody wants us to know, because that is how you mismanage our resources. We have scholarships and grants awarded and nobody knows who. We have contracts being executed and roads are tearing apart, inferior work, people getting paid, nobody held liable. That's our resources. That is to be shared, the wealth of our nation that is to be shared. But in addition to these internal issues, graduates, you also will have to deal with the external ones, the ones that we have absolutely no control over. The insatiable appetite for drugs, terrorism, human trafficking, money laundering. We also have climate change, which is creating havoc with our weather, higher temperatures, heat waves, droughts, more intense storms. And then COVID-19 has injected increased uncertainty and unpredictably into the mix. But borrowing from the Chinese culture, even though the virus, it is said, originated there, we must search for opportunities within our challenges. We must appreciate the invaluable lessons that we have learned during this process. For you are Generation Z. I understand that is the new generation. I won't tell you where I stand because that might give some indication of my age. And that is not really something for the conversation today, yes? But you are Generation Z. And you now have the opportunity to build on what has worked and what can work, and fully embrace a new form of thinking in order to respond to, adapt, and proact our unique challenges. You have the opportunity to bring about the future that you want, not what the generation of 10 and 15 and 30 years ago want, but really what you want. Things that were once demeaned by traditional thinkers and progress stoppers, like earning academic qualifications online. There was a time if you told someone you had a degree by online learning, they look at you and tell you that ain't good enough like the one that we get when we come to school. But what are we doing now? Online learning has become the new norm. COVID-19 has also elevated our appreciation of the value of different sets of professions, our security forces, healthcare professionals, our teachers. The internet, technology, and data is driving progress and creating new forms of alternative livelihoods, removing middle people, connecting suppliers to buyers globally, and elevating even the run man. When you want anything during the COVID-19, you had to find yourself a run man. Who would have thought of a run man about, 4 or 5 months ago? You even have a job now called a social media influencer, where people are earning tons of money by just being on social media. These are new jobs. But these progressions definitely bring us hope for a changing future. And I'm confident that you will be the generation that history will record as having the faith and the courage, along with the conviction, to do what is necessary to preserve the nation's state of Belize, and who, with a sense of purpose and urgency, will begin to design the future that you want to see. I have no doubt that you, Generation Z, will deliver on the promise of the peaceful, constructive Belizean revolution, which was started by the Right Honorable George Price, our national hero. There's a long legacy of many successes that is there to guide you, to anchor you, despite the many disappointments and failures that we have had. This convinces me that amongst you may be an Antonio Soberanes, who I know you know as having been a national leader fighting for the rights of workers. Amongst you women, I am hopeful, will be a Madame Gwendolyn Lizaraga, who would lead the fight for rebuilding our communities and families anchored in those core spiritual values that are enshrined in our Constitution, that will be the voice for those that are needy, the voiceless. I am also hopeful that you will have the courage to request that one day we have a national heroine, that we only not have men as national heroes, that we no longer sing of pledging our manhood because I don't have manhood. You know, I would want to pledge my life to my country. And side by side, that we lead government, and that on our flag, we also have a woman. I am hoping that one of you will do that. I am hopeful that amongst you will be a Philip S. W. Wilson, always ensuring that our territorial integrity and sovereignty of our nation is held intact for your generation and the next to come. And amongst you, I am hopeful that there will be a George Cable Price who will lead the next revolution that will give effect to the social justice and democratic nationalism, values and principles, the fundamental rights and freedom that are enshrined in our Constitution. That amongst you, our leadership will propel and sustain efforts of our gatekeepers of democracy. That you will ensure that when we hear the reports of the Auditor General, that action is going to be taken. Graduates of 2020, the multiple roles of technology, innovation, research, which was never in my time, have transformed the way we think, live, communicate, learn, and do business. You are blessed with the potential to improve our efficiency and to ensure that the delivery of education, healthcare, public services, a productive economy, all of which is necessary to elevate Belize to a developed nation status. Remember, graduates, we are a nation that is blessed with wealth untold. With transformational thinking, there are unlimited approaches and actions for you to lead a nation, to bring a nation on board, to ensuring that the wealth that we have is shared. Graduates, all I ask is that as you journey to the next chapter of life, that you desist from that cancer of the get-rich scheme quick mentality that many before you have gone through, that you take zero tolerance approach to corruption, that you show respect and treat all Belizeans fairly and justly and as partners in our development process. And I have no doubt in my mind that your schooling at John Paul II is going to assist you in doing that. I am hopeful that disillusionment and cynicism will not sow within you, that you will have a better quality of life because it may have been delayed. For in Genesis 12:2-3, Abraham learned that sometimes the delay is for the benefit of others, not us. So we are to potentially bear it so others we may never even met can be blessed through you. Graduates, you are now prepared to lead that transformational revolution, to deliver on the promise of the revolution. The future is yours to change. You are the change for a changing future, and you are blessed to change that future. I thank you for the opportunity to say a few words, and that as you move along your journey, you always place God and country before self. May God bless you and guide you. May God bless John Paul II Junior College, and of course, may God bless Belize. Thank you.